Dad, why don't some children believe in Santa Claus? This was the question my astute son Ian, then 9 years old, asked his father one day about 3 weeks before Christmas. With the wisdom born of being a father of both this 9-year-old and a then 29-year-old son, with a daughter in between, he replied, "Well, some people don't believe in God. That doesn't mean God doesn't exist." When my husband later related this conversation to me, I started thinking about how sad it is that so much has changed and that some people don't believe in anything they can't see or feel or touch, while others will believe anything anyone tells them. Then I thought about how my own ideas about Santa and the Christmas season had changed since I was a little girl so many decades ago. But about the only thing that hadn't changed was my unwavering belief in Santa Claus. I first began thinking about this years ago when my son enrolled in an urban public school. When the time came for the annual Christmas concert that year, it was the year that the principals of elementary schools across the continent began decreeing that there would no longer be a Christmas concert. It would now be a holiday concert. Then the music teacher changed the words to a long-standing and much-loved Christmas song, and we were regaled with a hearty version of its beginning to look a lot like the holidays. And I was immediately transported in my mind to a summer day on the deck with a drink in hand. Not really the image one expects to conjure during the fading weeks of December, but I take my holidays in the summer, so I guess it fits. Christmas, it seemed, was relegated to the dusty shelves of the forgotten festivals. That very week, our next-door neighbors hoisted their enormous annual sign on their lawn, proclaiming that Jesus is the reason for the season, and I began to feel like old Scrooge. Bah, humbug, I thought. So what is the reason for the season in our multicultural 21st century Canada? I believe the reason is the spirit of Santa Claus, no longer a religious icon, but the harbinger of goodwill toward others, of drawing together family and friends, of sharing a bit of our lives with others near and far. Historically, Santa Claus can trace his beginnings to the legend of St. Nicholas, who was born in the 3rd century in what is now modern-day Turkey. He eventually became known as the protector of children and sailors. But for us in North America, well, he didn't begin to seep into our culture until sometime around the turn of the 19th century. In 1822, Clement Moore wrote his book, An Account of a Visit from St. Nicholas, which we all know today as 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, where Santa Claus was described as a jolly old elf. Then, when political cartoonist Thomas Nast caught on to Moore's poem story, he drew the first image of what looks like modern-day Santa Claus. And then we have Coca-Cola advertisements from the 1930s to thank for our jolly image of Santa today in his red suit. But if I reflect again on my neighbor's sentiment, I will admit that Jesus is the historical reason and may be important to those whose spirituality involves organized religious experiences, but Santa Claus transcends this. For everyone, the spirit of Santa Claus is what we continue to call Christmas, regardless of religious or political leanings. The spirit of Santa Claus is what makes this time of year different from the rest. One of my favorite Christmas shows is the old Muppet Family Christmas, and I often think of something Kermit says to his nephew when asked about the meaning of Christmas. "If it weren't for times like these," he says, "life would just pass in a blur." It's as real today as it was when Virginia wrote her letter to the editor in 1897 asking the editor of the New York Sun if there really is a Santa Claus. To my own son, now 30-something, I can't do anything but agree with the editor who responded to Virginia. Yes, Ian, there is a Santa Claus. And we'll go on celebrating this Christmas season regardless of religious divisions and self-righteous indignation. So when I see you on the street and call out Merry Christmas, I'm not making any kind of religious or political statement. I'm wishing you the spirit of Santa Claus. and I'd be the happy recipient of Hanukkah wishes, or Kwanzaa greetings, or Children's Day compliments, or the good wishes of any other festival that embodies this spirit of Santa and the message of fellowship, sharing, and love.